Today I have something different for you guys. With it being October and it's Halloween, I'm gonna try to do a Spooktober series. So for the first series or the first video, I'm gonna do 10 of the most notorious serial killers in the world. I will tell you their names, what they did, and what years they did it in. So let's just go ahead and get straight into this video. No need for small talk. So for the first one, he's labeled as Coast to Coast. His name is Tommy Lynn Sells. He's from Texas, and he was convicted of several brutal murders between the years of 1985 and 99. He stabbed a 13-year-old girl 16 times. 16 times. Like, I don't know. He was arrested after he broke into a 10-year-old girl's room, stabbed her, and left her to die. Fortunately enough, the girl was able to survive, and she was able to get to her neighbor for help, and they caught this brutal murderer. The infamous Coast to Coast was sentenced to death and is currently waiting for his punishment in prison in Livingstone, Texas. The next one is his name is Gary Ridgway. He would throw his victim into the Green River. He was arrested in 2001, but he eventually admitted to murdering at least 70 women during the 80s and 90s. Because he provided the authorities with the details of murders and locations of their bodies, he evaded the death penalty, but he was convicted of 49 murders and got life imprisonment. This one is labeled the original. His name is Ed Gein. He was an inspiration for many of the classic horror movies such as Psycho and Texas Chain Massacre. Gein had an abusive childhood, and his alcoholic father and psychotic mother were not the best role models. His family eventually died, and he was left alone in their house, turning a part of his home into a shrine dedicated to his mother. He even made a women's suite that would make him become like his mother. Police discovered numerous exhumed bodies or corpse at the property, as well as the trophies he made from their bones and skin. How freaking gross. Gein confessed to killing the woman and was later declared insane. Would you think? Eventually dying at a mental health institution. This one is a woman. She's labeled as Lady Bluebeard. Her name is Belle Sorensen Gunnis. Killed several of her boyfriends, husbands, and even children, all because of life insurance money. Okay. The Norwegian-American serial killer was active between the years 1884 and 1908. The authorities found her body in the fire remains in her family farmhouse, along with at least 11 additional people. She was pronounced dead, but many speculate that she framed her own death and escaped. This one is Ted Bundy. After Jack the Ripper and Charles Manson, Ted Bundy is probably the most famous serial killer. Bundy's victims were females. He would kidnap them, rape them, and dismember them, sometimes even keeping their heads as souvenirs. How gross. He was executed in 1989 after he admitted murdering 30 victims. How freaking crazy can you be? Like, one murder isn't enough, then you go and do 30? Anyways, the Night Stalker. Richard Ramirez was notorious for breaking into people's homes in LA and murdering them with a variety of weapons that included handguns, knives, and even tire iron. One of his first victims was a 9-year-old girl who Ramirez raped, beat, and murdered. A 9-year-old girl. He was also known to leave occult symbols as his signature. Apparently, he was a fan of pentagrams. He was arrested in 1985 and sentenced to a death penalty. He died in prison in 2013 due to natural causes. I'm surprised someone didn't, kill him or something. Dr. Death. Harold Shipman was an English doctor and a serial killer with one of the highest numbers of victims ever recorded. I happen to second guess myself a lot, so excuse me. This evil doctor was quite busy with his practice between the years of 1972 and 1998, during which he killed almost 250 of his patients by injecting lethal doses of medicine. How sick. He would then proceed to forge wills to inherit their money and cremate their bodies to get rid of evidence. He was convicted in the year of 2000, but he decided for one last operation by committing suicide in prison in Wakefield 4 years after. This one is Monster of the Andes. Pedro Alonso Lopez claims to have raped and murdered more than 300 women during his killing sprees along Southern America. Like, dude. More than 50 of his victims were no older than 12 years old. After he was caught and he confessed for all of his crimes, he was declared insane and was released in 1998 based on good behavior. It seems like good behavior makes up for most of your bad deeds. How do you get out after raping and murdering 300 women? That is sick. But our next one will be Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper is notoriously famous for his serial killings of prostitutes in London during the year of 1888. He would cut their throats and mutilate their abdominals, removing some of their internal organs. How gross. What is interesting is that his identity was never revealed, but it was obviously someone who did not like paying for sexual intercourse. Last but not least, we have the Brooklyn Vampire. Albert Fish was a serial killer that was active in the early 1900s. He was prosecuted on the charges of rape, murder, and cannibalism. He ate 3 children and claimed he murdered 100 more. What makes him stand out in this list is the fact that he sent a letter to one of the mothers of his victims detailing the whole process of his murder, including the kidnapping and the eating of her daughter. That is one letter that would make even Dr. Hannibal Lecter shiver. Dude, that is gross. I would have tore the whole prison up, because that's sick. Like, you just told me how you killed my daughter. Gross. That is all that I have for you today. These next few videos will probably be real short and brief. I want to get straight to the point so that I can keep going with the Spooktober. I don't know what I'm going to do next, but it'll be something along with Halloween and spooky and scary. So comment suggestions down below if you have any. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you enjoy Spooktober.